Hello and welcome to Lantern Lane Stories. Tonight's story is The Voice of the Lorelei Rock. The sun was low and gold when Peter first saw the Rhine. He stood at the bow of his grandfather's flat-bottomed barge, watching the dark water slide beneath him. The river smelled of cold stone and summer grass. On both banks, green hills rose steeply. Vineyards climbed the slopes in long, tidy rows. A ruined stone castle sat high on one ridge, its pale walls glowing orange in the last light. "Are we far from Sankt Goarshausen?" Peter asked. "Not far," said grandfather from behind the rudder. "But watch the river, it is about to change." Peter pulled his coat tighter. A kingfisher darted past, a streak of bright blue, and was gone. The water looked quiet, almost peaceful. "It looks calm," Peter said. "It always looks calm before the bend," said grandfather. Then the river changed. The hills pressed inward. The water narrowed, squeezing between the slopes like thread through a needle. The current quickened. The color deepened, gray-green to dark blue, almost black, and on the right bank a cliff rose from the water. It went straight up. It did not taper. It did not lean. It just went up. Peter counted 10 meters, 20, 50, and still the cliff kept going. 132 meters, grandfather said quietly, taller than any church you have ever seen. The face of the rock curved inward, smooth as the inside of a giant shell. At the base, white foam churned and spun. The river struck the stone and swirled back on itself. "Why does the water move so fast here?" Peter asked. "The narrowest bend on all the upper Rhine," said grandfather. "And below the surface, old rocks. Sharp ones, they do not move for anyone." He tightened his grip on the rudder. His eyes did not leave the water. "Stay in the middle of the barge," he said quietly. Peter did not argue. They were halfway past the cliff when Peter heard it. A sound, low and wavering, rising, then falling, then rising again. He looked left, right. No village, no boat, no one on the bank, just the gray cliff and the dark, rushing water. "Grandfather," Peter whispered, "do you hear that?" "I always hear it here," the old man said. "Everyone does. What is it?" Grandfather said nothing for a moment. "Do you want to find out?" he asked. "Yes," said Peter. "Then cup your hands and call toward the rock." Peter felt a little silly, but he turned, cupped his hands around his mouth, and called out, "Hello." A second later, softer, the word came back. "Hello," then softer still. "Hello," then just a whisper of breath. Peter's mouth fell open. "It echoed," he said. "Everything echoes here," said grandfather. The river's rushing sound echoes too, 100 small echoes all mixing together. "And it sounds like singing," said grandfather. "Yes." He adjusted the rudder a little. 200 years ago, a poet named Brentano sailed past this rock. The year was 1801. He heard this same sound. Was he frightened? He was a writer. He was curious. He listened, and then he wrote a story. What kind of story? A story about a maiden named Lorelei. She had long golden hair and a voice like no one had ever heard. She was heartbroken, her love had sailed away and never returned. So she climbed to the very top of this cliff, 132 meters up, and she sang her sorrow out over the water. Peter looked up. A last stripe of gold still lit the flat top of the Lorelei. And sailors heard her? Every sailor who came around this bend. They heard the voice and forgot to watch the current. Their boats drifted sideways, right toward the rocks below. He paused. 23 years after Brentano, a poet named Heine wrote his own poem. 1824. Heine's poem became so famous that children all over Germany learned it by heart. Grandfather began to hum, softly, slowly, just a few notes, round and low like the river. The poem begins, "I do not know what sadness has come over me. An ancient tale fills my thoughts." And the Lorelei, she did all this with her singing. Peter listened to the wavering sound, still coming from the rock. It really did sound like sadness. The barge cleared the sharpest point of the bend. The current eased. The water spread wide again, gray-green and still, but the sound still drifted back from behind them. "If there was no maiden," Peter said, "what really makes that sound?" Grandfather pointed back at the cliff. "Do you remember how the rock face curves, like the inside of a shell?" "Yes," said Peter. "Sound bounces off a curved surface the way light bounces off a curved mirror. Have you seen those bowl-shaped mirrors at the market, the ones that make your face look strange and large?" Peter nodded. "The Lorelei rock is shaped like that, but enormous. When the river strikes the base all day, all night without stopping, it makes a great rushing sound. That sound hits the curved stone, and the stone throws it back out across the water. Back toward the sailors, Peter said slowly. Back toward the sailors. But as it travels, sharp edges round off. It softens, it rises and falls. Like a voice, Peter said. Like a voice, Grandfather agreed. He looked at Peter steadily. Sailors do not expect rivers to sing, so they looked for another reason. A heartbroken maiden with golden hair made more sense to them than curved rock and echo. Peter thought about that. Which story is real? He asked. Grandfather was quiet. The lights of Sankt Goarshausen glimmered on the bank ahead. Both are real, he said at last. The echo is the true thing, but Brentano's story made sailors remember this bend, and remembering a dangerous place, he patted the rudder. That is what keeps a captain careful. The barge touched the dock. Grandfather tied the rope with quiet, sure hands. Peter looked back upriver one last time. The Lorelei was dark now, just a black shape against a sky gone deep blue. One star had appeared just above its flat top. He could still hear it, or thought he could, a low sound. Rising, falling, not quite singing, not quite the wind, just the Rhine talking to its oldest stone. Today, if you visit Sankt Goarshausen, you can walk to the river's edge and look up at that same gray cliff, 132 meters. It has not moved in thousands of years. If the water is high and the air is still, you may hear something, a wavering sound that rises and falls like a voice. Now you know what it really is. And so, Sankt Goarshausen also slowly fell asleep. Good night.